DriverSchedule.com is more than just a revolutionary driver availability and management software. It's a complete HR suite of products to manage both your driver and office staff. For those companies with hourly employees, nothing is more frustrating than paper time cards and mechanical punch clocks. The hassle of lining up the cards in the clock and having someone manually add up the times correctly with rounding and then account for breaks and lunches. DriverSchedule.com automates and streamlines the entire hourly employee punch-in and punch-out process with a virtual time clock. The virtual time clock centralizes the time clock and all its functions. It instantly shows all hourly employee activities for the last 24 hours on an easy-to-read dashboard. It tracks both regular and overtime automatically. It allows you to set up breaks, both paid and unpaid. It allows you to edit and fix bad or missed punches, and even notifies you via email of late or missed punches. The virtual time clock feature can be used for both office staff employees and chauffeurs, and setting up the virtual time clock is easy. First, select Account Settings from the dashboard's top menu. Next, select the Virtual Time Clock tab. Here you will input how you want your virtual time clock to collect and present your data. The weekly hours field is used if your state requires overtime after a specified number of hours per week. In this example, any hours over 40 in a given week are subject to overtime. The daily hour fields are used if your state requires overtime after a specified number of hours per day. In this case, you would input the number of hours each day that are not subject to overtime. The overtime rate field is how overtime is calculated. In this example, any hours over 40 in a given week are subjected to an overtime rate of 1.5 times the regular hourly rate. The rounding increment selection is how you round each hour of time. In this example, the company is using quarter-hour rounding, which is also referred to as 7-minute rounding. The virtual time clock will automatically round the time to the nearest quarter hour based on the actual time the employee punches in or out. Individual breaks, lunches, or dinners can all be set up and can be paid or unpaid, and even paid with a limit of time. For example, you could pay for the first 30 minutes of a break, but not any time after the initial 30 minutes of time. The virtual time clock can be set up to automatically email one or more individuals when someone punches in or out late for their shift or break. A security feature allows you to set up your virtual time clock so that only those employees using your local network can access it. This prevents anyone from punching in or out remotely or off-site. Assigning employees to use the virtual time clock is easy. Simply select Enable on the employee's record within the Edit Users or Edit Chauffeur page and enter a passcode. The Manage checkbox should be selected only for those users you want to have access to make changes and run payroll reports. Each company has a dedicated web link to where their employees will use the virtual time clock. Select Virtual Time Clock URL from the dashboard under the Quick Links menu. Your custom web link will resemble this example: the DriverSchedule.com website, your company ID, and the word time clock. When the employee goes to your virtual time clock, they select their name and enter their passcode. They will then select the action Punch In, Break Start, Lunch End. And they can even submit questions or notify accounting of a missed punch. They simply enter the information to the message box and select Send. The time card view shows their activity for the week or whatever time period they select. They can also print this information for their records. Your accounting or payroll person can manage the time clock by selecting Manage Virtual Time Clock from the dashboard under the Quick Links menu. Managers can edit entries, add an entry, view time cards, view and print payroll reports, and even compare actual schedules to the time the employee worked, so you know exactly who's been punching in late, not taking breaks, or doing overtime. The Edit Entries function allows managers to correct punch mistakes. The Add Entry function allows managers to correct for any missed punches. The Time Card view shows all the times, punch-ins, punch-outs, and breaks for any selected time range. The Payroll view converts time to hours and minutes. And the Schedule Comparison view lets you see how each employee's actual work time compares to the hours they were scheduled. The DriverSchedule.com virtual time clock eliminates the cost of paper time cards and a mechanical time clock. It reduces employee time to manually calculate work hours and deduct for breaks. It flags bad habits of coming into work late, not taking breaks, taking extended breaks, and working overtime that isn't needed. The virtual time clock keeps all of your records online and easily accessible. Watch our other video tutorials to learn more about what this program can do for you and your business.